Bruce, what's the best way to deliver training? So, hey, I'm Bruce Hill, New Skills, New You. I make sales simple for startup founders and professional service businesses. I help them hear yes more often without expensive software, without complicated methodologies, simply by working on their professional development and investing in the people. That's how we invest in the business. That's how we get long term and lasting results. One of the biggest things I've seen is how we deliver training hasn't evolved a whole lot over the years. So there's a few things I've seen are most effective for the most people for the most percentage of time. And it's really simple. It's interactive. One of the myths, I don't know, misconceptions, however you want to describe it, about learning is that it's passive. And that's where I really love digital courses because of the accessibility. Right? I can learn from anywhere at any time. That's wonderful. But I don't think it's wise to assume sitting in front of a video for an hour is going to make me significantly better at what I do. Um, you'll find that people that get the most out of those, there's two things. They're taking notes, usually physically taking notes, whether that's pen and paper or digital pad, but they're moving their hand, right? There's something that happens there with your retention and comprehension. Even more important than that is they go to apply it afterwards. They go try it. They experiment. They test. And that's really delayed interaction, right? They watch the video, then they interact. What I found is best is is live interaction. Now, with the digital course, a live interaction would be like, hey, here's a task, pause it here, go do this, then come back, right? Within a workshop, it's hey, repeat back to me what we just learned, or pair up and practice what we just learned. That I believe is a missing piece of effectiveness in trainings. And that's where I really don't think the college lecture is an approach that's really effective. Where I tell you this information and then you go read a couple chapters in the book and then you're supposed to be magically ready for a quiz. You've given me the information, but you haven't given me understanding. And when you put that responsibility on the participant, the effectiveness of the training goes down. There are some people that can learn that way and they've gotten really good. And many people have adapted, even if they don't like it, it's not comfortable for them. It's the way things are, so that's the way they do it. What I've done in New Skills, New You, and I increasingly do, is more and more interactive training. So even if there's an hour block, there may only be 20 minutes of instruction. And that's intentional. That 20 minutes is to introduce a concept or idea or clarity around an existing idea. And that 40 minutes is, if anything else, is question and answers. Because the questions people ask helps them think out loud, helps me understand to gauge their comprehension. And and there's a word again, it forces them to participate in their own learning. That is crucial. So I want you to let me interrupt myself. You're evaluating a trainer or consultant, mm, whether it's a workshop or speaker, ask them how often do you get the audience, the participants, the trainees to interact? How often during your talk are they going to participate? And based on their answer, if they say no, they get the information, and then I leave, I may ask you to think twice about hiring them. If they say there's a workbook, okay, that's a green flag. When do they go through that workbook? Oh, it's before, it's after. It's I don't want to. I would think twice about hiring. If they say it's during, they'll leave the training with the completed workbook. That's a green flag. Bring them on. That's where we're gonna have those responses. Man, that training was so powerful. Oh man, that was really helpful. Thank you. And that's where you're going to get better results over a longer period of time, not just that spike in productivity and they go back to doing things the way it were a week later. Participating in their own learning is learning reinforcement. This is something that I've made a big part of a shift, even as a speaker. Shout out to Rob Ferre on making even a speech interactive. But for most of my trainings, they really could be described as workshops. I don't want to just talk to you for an hour. If that was the case, you could just watch a bunch of these YouTube videos and you'd be done. And that's one of the reasons I'm comfortable sharing so much in these YouTube videos because there's two things missing that you need, and I believe people are willing to pay for. One, the ability to participate. Um, there's a level of customization that happens when someone says, "Hey, Bruce, we want this training," whether it's the 4P framework. All right, we're working on our big picture strategy, whether it's turning conversations to clients, whether it's 5 steps to hear yes more often. There's a level of customization that happens when you participate because no one else is going to participate the way you do. The second part is feedback. I say this all the time. Even if you could Google all the information, you get the complete information in the right order, there's very little feedback that can happen because it's pre-recorded on whether or not you're even doing it right. And maybe you are doing it right, but is it optimized? Are you doing it the best way possible? And that participation in that live workshop, I believe, is going to become increasingly more valuable as artificial intelligence makes so much data more accessible more quickly. And I use AI in the trainings. That's something I don't want to get away from. I don't want to teach you to use AI. I will, in the sense of that's the training. I want to use artificial intelligence to enhance quality of the training for the participants. That's where we're going to have trainings that people will pay attention to. That's where we're going to have trainings that people are excited to go to. That's where we're going to have trainings that make a difference on your bottom line, whether it's a measurable ROI. And so the question is, how do we make trainings more effective? Participation is how we make it more effective. Instead of making them one way, they need to be two ways. They need to be bidirectional, multi-directional. One thing I learned from the Disney Institute on leadership was having more than one facilitator in one training. And those different perspectives, those different explanations, those different contexts, their different experiences pour into the training and makes it a richer experience for the individuals. So if you're looking like, man, we've got to increase your revenue. Maybe you're having a retention problem on the sales team. Maybe there's a attrition problem on the other end, on the customer success end, right? Churn. I'd love to have a conversation with you. Let's figure out what your organization needs to succeed faster and smoother, to get there a little faster and smoother, and build some trainings customized for you that are interactive, that are dynamic, so they have a lasting impact on your organization. Remember, one new skill will change your life.